Hi everyone, it's Mr. Wyman again, and so we've been reading all kinds of BRER Rabbit stories, right? And it's time to read the last one of this book, okay? And this is the most, I'd say this is the most famous one. It's the one I remember from my childhood, and I'm excited about this one because right after this video, you are going to be watching another video of a completely different story. It's the story that I believe this story comes from.
Okay.
Anansi. That's it. It's an Anansi tale. Anansi the Spider-Man, I think it's called. And Anansi is a character from West Africa. And he's a trickster. So he does something similar to what happens in this story. But there's a twist. Okay, anyways, so stay tuned for that video, but here, without further ado, is BRER Fox, BRER Rabbit, and the Tar Baby.
Ooh, very interesting story.
Yeah, wait until you check this out. It was the hottest day of the year on the old plantation. It was so hot that the potatoes underground were nearly cooking in their skins. BRER Rabbit, that's some pretty interesting imagery. Nice figurative language. BRER Fox sat at home trying to cool himself off with a willow branch. He sat there waving the branch at his face, desperately working to get a breeze going. But he was working up more of a sweat than a breeze. So there he sat, sweating and waving and thinking. It was the thinking that finally got BRER Fox upset. He was trying to remember the cooler days in his life, the days when he was relaxed and calm and, well, cool. He thought that if he could remember those days, it might help to cool him off now. Trouble was, he couldn't remember a day like that recently. In fact, he couldn't even remember such a day in the past 6 months. He's always been upset and irritable. And there was only one reason why. BRER Rabbit. BRER Fox couldn't remember a relaxing day since BRER Rabbit had been around. Well, maybe it was the heat, and maybe it was the thinking, but BRER Fox decided then and there that he had had enough. He decided that it was his turn to show BRER Rabbit who he was dealing with. BRER Fox threw aside the willow branch and went out to his shed. He took out a bucket of tar and a can of turpentine and mixed them together. What he got was a large black glob, stickier than honey and smellier than a dozen skunks. A dozen skunks? Oh my goodness.
Ew, that sounds really stinky.
Yeah, he's mixing up his solution. And here he is carrying off his what he made. Then he took the glob in the bucket, grabbed an old straw hat, a white comb, and a couple of white buttons and walked the mile to the main road. When he got to the main road, BRER Fox dumped the glob out onto a large log right in the center of the road. He put the hat on top of the glob, shoved the 2 buttons in for eyes, stuck the comb in for a grinning mouth, and his masterpiece was ready. The Tar Baby was born. Was a Tar Baby born?
No, it was just made.
Yeah. BRER Fox smiled, a sneaky smile, and laughed low. Then he went into the bushes nearby and waited for BRER Rabbit. He knew that BRER Rabbit would come along eventually. It was hot, and BRER Rabbit would have to pass this way to get to the well. Oh. What's happened so far in the story?
Well, BRER Fox was hot and was trying to think of cool memories. That was in the beginning. Then he had enough of the sweat, so he decided he would make some black stuff.
Why is he making the black stuff, though?
I think it's a trick for BRER Rabbit.
Yeah, yeah. And why does he want to trick Brer Rabbit?
Well, I think it's because he wants a turn, his turn tricking somebody.
Yeah, that's really good. Also, plain and simple, he wants to get rid of Brer Rabbit. Why does he want to get rid of Brer Rabbit?
Well, he played so many rude and nasty tricks on them.
On Brer Fox. What happens? By and by, Brer Rabbit came down the road, walking and skipping, lippity clippity, toward the well. He's just as sassy as a jaybird, Brer Fox thought to himself. I can't wait until he gets his. Brer Rabbit made his way happily down the road until he saw Tar Baby sitting on the log. Now, Brer Rabbit was crafty, but he was also a friendly creature, always greeting everyone who passed his way, especially strangers, and he didn't recognize the figure in front of him. Brer Rabbit walked up and stuck out his hand. Good morning, stranger. Is it hot enough for you? Brer Rabbit said in his friendliest greeting voice. The Tar Baby just sat there smiling and didn't say a word. Brer Fox kept lying low in the bushes. Of course, this guy didn't say anything. He's just tar, right? Brer Rabbit tried again. I said, good morning. How are you doing? Brer Fox squinted his eyes to see better and lay low, and the Tar Baby didn't say a word. Brer Rabbit was getting overheated. What's the matter? You deaf? He shouted. The Tar Baby smiled, silent and still, and Brer Fox lay low. You're mighty stuck up. That's what the matter is, said Brer Rabbit, his furry face turning red with anger, and I'm going to unstick you unless you answer me real soon, if you get my meaning. In other words, look how angry the rabbit looks. He was being polite to this stranger, and the stranger was just ignoring him. Or at least that's what he thought. Brer Fox swallowed his laughter, and the Tar Baby didn't make a sound. That's it, spat Brer Rabbit. I'm going to have to teach you a lesson. If you don't take off your hat to say howdy, I'm going to bust you right open. Well, needless to say, the Tar Baby didn't speak, and he didn't remove his hat. Brer Rabbit figured he had put up with enough. He had greeted this stranger like a friend, and had been treated like an enemy. Brer Rabbit drew back his fist, and with all his might, he swung straight for the Tar Baby's head. That doesn't sound very polite, does it? Well, his fist went right into the Tar Baby and got stuck. So Brer Rabbit took his fist and went right into Tar Baby. What do you think is going to happen?
He's going to explode.
Remember, the tar is stickier than honey and smells 10 times as bad as a skunk. Can you make a prediction?
I already said I can't. I can't think of a prediction.
You can't think of what?
A prediction!
Well, Brer Rabbit pulled back, but the Tar Baby wouldn't let go. If you don't let me loose, said Brer Rabbit, I'll knock you again. The Tar Baby didn't let loose, and Brer Rabbit drew back his other hand and swung again. Now both hands were stuck.
Uh-oh, that seems bad.
And the Tar Baby still didn't say a word, and Brer Fox kept on lying low. Brer Rabbit pulled and tugged, but he couldn't get away. Turn me loose before I kick the stuffing out of you, he said. The Tar Baby didn't answer, so Brer Rabbit kicked him with his right foot, which got stuck. He kicked again with his left foot, stuck again. As if he hadn't had enough, Brer Rabbit yelled that if the Tar Baby didn't let him loose, he'd butt him right in the head. The tar baby didn't, and Brer Rabbit butted, and now his forehead was stuck too.
Uh-oh, that seems pretty bad.
So every part of the rabbit was stuck to this tar baby. Look at the picture.
Yeah, it looks like the
Now-
tar baby got messed up.
Yeah, the tar baby got messed up. Now, in my mind, I actually picture these feet and the paws, the front paws, all stuck inside the tar baby, kind of like stuck in there. The illustrator drew it a little differently, but that's what I'm picturing. So, now what? Here's the rabbit. He looks pretty sad. And the fox is having a blast over here. Brer Fox was done lying low. He got up from the bushes and sauntered out. What does saunter mean? It means to walk out all cool, like you're big and tough and like he's the cool guy, saunter out. Just as innocent as a newborn pup, like he had nothing to do with it, right? "Howdy, Brer Rabbit," said Brer Fox. "You look sort of stuck up this morning." Then, so stuck up in the previous portion of the story meant like thinking highly of yourself to the point, like so highly of yourself that you're too proud to say hello to Brer Rabbit, right? Like you're just a lowly rabbit. I'm not going to say hi to you. That kind of stuck up. Now, Brer Fox is using the same term, but literally the rabbit is actually stuck inside the tar baby, right? Stuck up. So, Fox burst into laughing and rolled on the ground laughing until he couldn't laugh anymore. Brer Rabbit just sat there stuck, and the tar baby sat there grinning and didn't say a word. Throughout the story, the author is acting like the tar baby is alive, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Keeps saying that the tar baby isn't doing this and isn't doing that, and now the tar baby is sitting there grinning. Well, the tar baby isn't doing anything. Tar baby is just tar, right? By the time Brer Fox stopped laughing, a full hour had passed. Brer Rabbit didn't say anything throughout the whole laughing episode. He didn't want to give Brer Fox the pleasure of hearing him complain. He must be using some serious self-control. What's self-control?
It's when you sit down and you're like, if you really want to have a piece of candy, you keep it, even if you really want it.
Oh, okay, so that's a good example. I'd say self-control is having control over yourself, right? And you gave an example of like not doing something that you really, really want to in order to get something, right? But it's like controlling yourself. By and by, Brer Fox began to realize that this was more than a good practical joke he'd pulled. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, a moment that could not go to waste. This was Brer Fox's chance to get rid of Brer Rabbit once and for all. This sounds dangerous. What do you think? What do you think he's gonna do? Let's get rid of him once and for all. What's that mean? So Brer Fox sat on a stump by the side of the road, stroking his chin and thinking out loud. Brer Rabbit just sat there stuck. There wasn't much else he could do. "Well, I suspect I've got you this time, Brer Rabbit," Brer Fox finally said. Brer Rabbit would have looked a little bit frightened if he could have, but his face was stuck on the tar baby, so he couldn't move. Brer Fox kept on speaking. "You've been acting like the boss of the whole plantation for too long now. Well, I think it's finally time the boss was replaced." Brer Fox let out a chuckle. "The best thing of all is that you got yourself where you are now. Nobody asked you to get stuck, but you're always sticking your ears into somebody else's business. Now you're stuck for good." With that, Brer Fox got up and brushed off his fur. "Now, don't you go anywhere until I get back. I'm going to search for some kindling, and when I get back, I'm going to have myself a little rabbit barbecue." Uh-oh, what's he gonna do?
Eat him.
He's gonna eat him, right? He's gonna cook him up and eat him.
That seems horrible.
Yeah. Brer Rabbit had to think fast. He shifted his eyes to the left, looking for a way out. Nothing over there. He shifted his eyes to the right, and there he saw his answer. What do you think the answer is?
The well.
The what?
The well.
The well. Oh, maybe. That's a good prediction.
Because you know, sometimes water helps you free from sticky things.
Oh, good thinking. I like that. All right, let's see. There, not 20 yards away, was a prickly briar patch. So not the well, a briar patch.
What's a briar patch?
A briar patch. Look in the illustration down here. See these sticks? They have thorns all over them. A briar patch would be a thorny, like a bunch of bushes with thorns all over them. That's what a briar patch is. So it was just the kind of briar patch that would get the tar off his fur if he could only get himself into it. How could Brer Rabbit get himself into the briar patch? It's all stuck.
Try crawling?
He could try crawling, but he's like totally stuck. Even his forehead is stuck. Brer Rabbit knew he had to get into the briar patch. It was his only chance, but he would have to trick Brer Fox. Then Brer Rabbit had an idea. I don't care what you do with me, Brer Fox, as long as you don't fling me into that briar patch over there, Brer Rabbit pleaded. Brer Fox didn't answer right away. He was having a hard time finding any sticks for kindling. Well, it looks like you lucked out, Brer Rabbit, said Brer Fox, eventually coming out of the brush. I can't find any kindling to make a fire, so I guess I'll have to hang you. He began digging in his pocket for rope. Hang me as high as you please, Brer Fox, said Brer Rabbit, but just don't fling me into that briar patch. Now he sounded a bit weepy. Brer Fox dug deep into his pockets and came up empty. Well, I'm out of rope, said Brer Fox, so I guess I'll have to drown you. Brer Fox began looking around for a nearby river or pond. Drown me if you must, sink me as deep as you want, Brer Fox, said Brer Rabbit, but please, please, don't throw me into the briar patch. Why does he keep asking Brer Fox to not throw him into a briar patch?
So, like, he would think, ooh, I will, but he really don't.
Exactly, because Brer Fox wants to do the worst thing possible to Brer Rabbit, right? And what's Brer Rabbit doing? He's trying to act like what he wants, which is getting thrown into the briar patch, is the worst thing that could ever happen to him. Do you see? So let's see what happens. Now Brer Fox could find no water. He was getting a bit frustrated. I can't see any water around here, said Brer Fox. This was Brer Rabbit's chance. Do whatever you like, Brer Fox, said Brer Rabbit. Leave me here to starve, thrash me good, tickle me to death even. But please, if you have any kindness in your cold fox's heart, please don't throw me into the briar patch. Brer Fox took the bait like a hungry trout. Aha! So you don't want me to throw you into the briar patch, eh? Well, I'm afraid I'm out of time and you're out of luck. The briar patch it is. Oh boy. It looks like Brer Fox is gonna get tricked again, doesn't it? What do you think is gonna happen?
He's gonna, their, rabbit is gonna get away.
Let's see. Here's the fox throwing Brer Rabbit, tar baby and all, into the briar patch. See the mice here and all the thorns and sticks and everything. So Brer Fox picked up Brer Rabbit and the tar baby and flung them both head over heels, ears over feet, into the briar patch, just like Brer Rabbit wanted. When Brer Rabbit struck the bushes, a huge cloud of dust and briars flew up into the air. The briars prickled Brer Rabbit quite a bit, but they stuck themselves to Tar Baby and soon Brer Rabbit became completely unstuck from the tar baby. Meanwhile, Brer Fox stood looking over the briar patch, trying to see what had happened to Brer Rabbit. Finally, the dust settled. Brer Fox looked closer. To his surprise, all that was left in the briar patch was the tar baby, completely covered in briars. "I told you not to throw me in there," called a voice. Brer Fox turned quickly to see Brer Rabbit calling to him. "Maybe next time you'll listen," Brer Rabbit said. And with that, Brer Rabbit headed for home to clean the rest of the tar out of his fur, hippity hopping, lippity skippity, all the way home. So was the lesson here that Brer Fox should listen to Brer Rabbit? No, I don't think so. But there's definitely a theme and lessons to be learned and messages all throughout each one of the stories in this really fun book. I hope you enjoyed the stories, and hang tight because I've got another video with a whole nother story in it about Anansi, and there might be some kind of tar baby in that story as well. You'll be comparing and contrasting the two tales and characters.